Podcast Amsterdam.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Treehouse Lounge, the show where we delve into the creative worlds of resident artists shaping tomorrow's culture. I'm Sander. Oh,
You're Sander?
What a beautiful
That's a
name.
good one.
wow.
See, we're already doing it. We're
I'm
on one
Rachel.
hive mind.
And I'm Sander.
I think I pointed to you and then I was like, Sander.
Yeah.
And today we're bringing to you our Live at Our Place special. Treehouse is an artist incubator platform located at NDSM, housing over 100 artists of all disciplines. And today we are lucky enough to be sitting down with 3 of those musical residents. Before we get stuck into things, we want to thank Bram Radio for hosting
Thank
us
you, Bram.
again. The station streams 24/7 online at broadcastamsterdam.nl, and a catch-up of all our episodes is available on demand via their website. A little bit about the Live at Our Place concept. Live at Our Place is our concert series where resident artists and oftentimes their bands take to the stage to perform, and each of the artists we have here with us today will be performing during one of the upcoming events, including Tseroeja van den Bos,
Tseroeja.
1/3 of the musical trio Kernel Magits, for which she plays the 5-string electrical violin and many other instruments as well. Her band will be performing during Live at Our Place on August 22nd. Welcome.
That's true.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Your band, Kernel Magits, tell me how it started. How did this begin? How did you meet the other members? And, you know, how did you even begin exploring your crossovers?
Gilliam, the keys player of Kernel Magits, is an old study friend of mine. So we used to study at HKU. That's over 10 years ago, I guess. Gilliam used to host these remix parties in which your ticket to get into the party is to make a remix of these finals of like DDR, Schlagermuziek or whatnot. Last year he hosted one again at this studio in Rotterdam. Sometimes a lot of old HKU people are there, but also other friends of his. So,
By the way, the HKU is the High School of Arts from Utrecht. For the English-speaking people, they don't know it.
yeah, true. And last year, Matthijs, the drummer, was also there, and they had just been starting jamming together, the two of them. At this party, I talked with Matthijs too, and then a few months later, Gilliam said, "Hey, but by the way, don't you want to come jam with us too?" Since somewhere last year, we started jamming together.
What's the meaning of the name? Because it's yeah, I've never heard it, of course. I don't know if it's a language. Is it made up? What's the origin of it?
Well, the name might change, but it's a nice name. We had to, for the promotional things, really come up with a name. But we really felt a certain name that we couldn't use.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. But then, yeah, we had to come up with a name. And then I thought, okay, let's make it boring. So Magits is just the 2 first letters of our names.
Oh, yeah.
But because it kind of is like magician in a sense too, that is kind of the aim of what we're doing, like the kernel, the core, and to have that essence and to dare play with the sounds and ooze it out, incorporate it. So we're kind of like the little magits at our work too.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking something with magic, of course, because it's the first letters. Yeah, but it's nice.
And TS is me.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, when you said it, I was like, hey, yeah, now it clicks. Now I get it.
Each of you also have very specific sounds and very different ways of kind of making music. Yeah. How do you go about working with these contrasts and then establishing a collective signature, let's say?
That's an interesting thing indeed, because of course indeed to really ooze out your essence combined with other people's essences, and to have this scape of where sometimes it might also clash because you have different scapes from, like language works. You say one sound or you say one word because your family knows it as this super positive word, and you go out and you come into this other family or room and you use the word and suddenly it's the ultimate taboo word and you're horrible. But this constantly changes the dynamics of language and shapings, and through the play we can always reconnect it again. But when you start in it, of course it's like, where is everybody right now? And then maybe someone makes a sound and I think, oh, I don't like that sound, but that's my responsibility to then turn that sound into something that I like. And that is this constant remixing of who's there. So it's also, apart from us three, it's also important who is in the room, or if there's sounds from outside that you can hear, you can diminish them and say like, oh no, all that noise, but you can also incorporate it because the universe is a musical symphony and we're adding to it to try to not be negative about that, but also, of course, create a core in which you can make the little thing that you're doing.
I think it's also the magic in it, because I think you will also have to be able to be working with sounds that you wouldn't create. So you will hear a sound that you wouldn't necessarily start off with, but yeah, it's what you got, and then you have to work with it. Am I right?
Yeah.
I think that should also be interesting, because we had a sneak peek of you guys' performance, and it was nice. You know, it's unpredictable, but in a nice way. So it's like I enjoyed it.
Surrealist.
Yeah, yeah. It brings you through a whole phase. Same like we had with Gutkem. We didn't really know what to expect, but it's unpredictability in a nice, surprising way. And I think that's also, like you said, when you have to work with other people, if you turn something into positive, I think it's nice.
Thank you.
Your main instrument, let's say, is the violin, if I'm correct, or
Yeah, sometimes I say violin, sometimes I say viola.
Yeah.
It shifts.
yeah. What is your relationship with that instrument, and how has that kind of evolved and I suppose fit into this surrealist sound that you're known for today?
If I think of my viola, it's my greatest love. I've only had it for maybe 10 years, I think. Before that, I didn't have a viola, but I started doing some gigs on viola and then I was violinist. But then it's about the instrument, and this viola, the moment I first had it in my hands, it's like that magic where it's like, I already thought like, what is happening here, and everything starts resonating. Yeah, sometimes it shifts because you should extend it. So now I also like to play the violin a lot because I have a very beautiful violin as well. But okay, that comes from a perspective of classical education and finding all kinds of peace in the instrument, in the practicing, therefore having quiet, because you don't have to constantly be like, la la la, look at me, I'm a kid running around, la la la. No, you're allowed to just practice your skills.
Yeah.
And there was a certain respect for that, and that is nice to have that base. And then of course I also go out and I go like la 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 with my instrument, but that's because it is the piece within that is the disturber kind of.
Yeah.
This love for the tiny sounds, it just keeps growing and growing through multiple processes. I studied music technology, but still, in a sense, also just a ambacht. How do you say ambacht?
I know the word. Always when you put it on a spot, you forget.
Kind of like the skill, maybe, of really doing with your fingers that with that physical instrument. I hold dearly to that.
Yeah.
Then also to extend and see the broad range. If you like, okay, the love of the viola, if I pick it up and just say, hey, I'm just going to play what you want. I don't have to think at all. The viola directs me and it teaches me and it brings me in a whole process. Like when I feel sad, I don't want to talk to people. I just want to go to my viola, and then after I've played, I can breathe again, and then I can go out and talk to people again.
It's like you get in the zone and everything flows out of you via your instrument.
Yeah, or maybe it also flows in through the instrument, through me. It's a very nice balance and reharmonizing. And of course, it's a constant reminder as well of, okay, you have your own responsibility in a sense. The whole universe is my holographic perception, very solipsistic. You're not really truly existing. But also, wait a second, all these things, so many people have worked on this. I haven't built this viola.
No.
And there are so many lines that come connected. So yes, in a sense, if you are working with something and so many hands have been on it, then you're constantly really a part of the world.
Beautiful. And does that relationship also extend into the other instruments? Because you, beyond viola, you play, well, you've got your flute with you. You play a lot of different instruments.
These I treat maybe with less respect, especially as you see it. Or maybe it's a different kind of respect, because I like with these instruments to kind of also throw them around and also make sure that everybody feels like they can play if they want to too. But with the viola and the violin, that's different. the 5-string electric is my rock and roll one, so I'm a bit more like, woo, look at me on the stage and just put it on the floor. But I cannot walk away for a minute and just put my viola on the floor like that.
No.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same sense in like respect to tools, because a hammer is used for banging, you know, but a screwdriver, you won't use it to bang a nail. So
I have, I think.
you know, it's all up to interpretation, of course, but I mean, in general sense, so I can understand what you use the tool for what is intended and what it's intended for you to use with, you know, as long as it works for you. I think that's what's most important, so you can get your own interpretation out into this world.
Yes.
And I keep hearing you talking, also for the listeners, about violins and violas. What is the difference between them?
Oh, I have a very nice video recorded of this, I think, from a long time ago. Anyways, the violin and the viola are very beautiful instruments, both. They're both from the violin family, as is a cello, as is a double bass. Mm-hmm. The violin has a sort of standardized size because it's perfect. If you build it like that, millimeter wise, then you have, that's the recipe for it.
Okay.
The viola is the imperfect instrument because there's no set recipe so much. Because it's in between the cello and the violin. You still play it like this, but it's bigger. But they say, like, to get the ultimate sound as would be intended, it would have to be that big, and you cannot play it like that anymore. You have these in betweens. So yeah, they're pretty similar, but in an orchestra sense, they're a very different sensation, and they do have very different approaches. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the switch because when I used to play, like you play first violin in an orchestra, you're always focused on the melody and super high. But then when you play viola in the orchestra, you're more in a deeper layer, and sometimes you do have melodies, sometimes you're more accompanying, sometimes you play together with the bassoons or the clarinets or with the cellos, but generally 3 strings are the same, and the viola has a lower string and the violin has a higher string. Those 3 are exactly the same.
But of course, and you mentioned as well, you sometimes perform in larger groups, orchestras, but also as a session musician for, I think I read, David Guetta and Epica and other artists. How has that kind of influenced your own musical identity, or has it even influenced your own musical identity?
I mean, identity is a buildup of life experience, maybe in a sense, but added to your little essence, DNA core or something. I guess people always saw who I was, but I'm just doing what I'm doing. With every role that I have to do, I take it very seriously. Mm-hmm. Maybe because I take the music very seriously, and maybe other aspects I don't take very seriously. Mm-hmm. Like socializing and buying dresses online or something. It definitely has shaped me in the sense where I noticed that also in breaks, I like to work more. So I like to then, if you're in a bigger production, to when there's a break, to go and see if there's what needs to be fixed, to make sure everything is fixed. And that kind of extends to that maybe in the life more and more, like if I come to places, I see if there's anything I can do or can extend for everybody also to realize that we're all part of this world. If you walk and you see something laying on the street, you can look around and get mad at the government for not having the right garbage people take it away. But if you're walking there and you can just as easily also just pick it up and throw it in the trash can, why wouldn't you? And of course, that doesn't, it shifts for everybody every moment. Just constantly realize where are you and what can you actually add with your hands.
Then you see everyone as very equal, and also in music as well, then in your approach to work.
Yes, but intention is very important because it should never be, oh, I see people playing on the stage, I want that too. Not just, oh, she plays the violin, oh, now I want to play the violin. Then you look at the superficial layer. Or, oh, everybody is quiet when they speak, but they're loud when they speak. I want everybody to behave like this right now. That's the intention, is what do I feel like I really want to do right now, and let that be and not take someone else's space. It's a constant hin und her. Yeah, because I feel like, of course, when I'm on stage, it's my responsibility. But when I am the one hosting a jam session but I do more the impromptu ones. Okay, if you want to play this, that's fine. And I've had this one moment where the sound check was already done and people were at this festival. And then I thought like, okay, we can also just play here. And everybody was okay with that. Then you have some people that take the flute and just start... And I find that funny. I incorporate that again with my sound because it's a constant awareness and also a responsibility, because I saw that all the people were very annoyed by this, but nobody said anything about it.
Yeah.
And the woman who was doing this also said multiple times, if you don't like this, tell me, because I will stop. But the people didn't.
No.
So then it's their responsibility to stay there and choose to be like, oh, oh no, what is happening here? I mean, that's a jam session, and then you can also choose to play something or start screaming yourself or do something very soft.
It's a good point. You have this very unique mindset and approach to music. I'm wondering, do you have musical influences? Are there any artists that you particularly looked up to as you were either coming into the music industry or at the moment as well?
Industry.
Industry, background platform.
In the system.
No, generally for me it's it's really in moments of recognizing indeed certain characters and certain truth essence, and I have seen that in Fela Kuti, Robert Wyatt. Kind of. So Robert Wyatt, kind of from this sort of psychedelic realm. David Byrne talk interestingly, but it's, I guess, mostly my recognition of people comes when they say things that I think, I've thought this too, and I've written about this, and
It's just hard to name it on the spot.
I don't know. The spots change.
It's all about the energy you're in.
Yeah, the angle,
and you're also a Treehouse resident, of course.
Yes.
What has your experience here been like operating within this community, and how has it kind of helped you evolve your sound and your approach to work?
Well, I do realize that in such an environment here, there are many realms of play. So everybody has, there's a lot going on. So I guess for someone from outside to come walk here and think like, oh yeah, I'll just be here a bit, it's a very, very interesting place, and it can many things can go on. But of course, having this as my workspace and being the wicked creature that I am and going into all the zones, it's a different kind of mindset that you also have to wear when you come here, of course. And sometimes I really want to work on something, but the moment that you get in, if you choose it so, you can let your energy be directed in many other ways. I mean, just a few days ago, I was in 2 or 3 studios jamming with several people, which is nice. But also, I want to also sit and write and record, and so constantly balancing that. How you can really have a working atmosphere when to many worlds this seems like play, but it is play, but it is serious, and that's but like said, spots and different angles. I mean, ask me the same question 5 minutes ago or in 5 minutes and it will be completely different, but the same. And that is the essence of being to be alive, to actively choose to be what you are, to do what you do, and to know when you have certain commitments or things like, okay, today you're going to perform, you cannot just think, oh no, I'm somewhere else. Oh, I wasn't going to perform there today. Oh, I don't remember. I mean, so you have certain frames where you work together with other people and you set a time or something, but then you also know you have the responsibility to prepare beforehand what you can. And there's also so much left up there. But in the end, everything will be fine because you're taking yourself along and what you're doing is apparently what you're supposed to be doing.
So you're performing live at our place.
Yes.
With your band.
Yes.
Which is why we're here. So could you talk us through a little bit about what people can expect from the performance? Talk us through the sound. What are you hoping listeners take away with them if they do join us on that evening?
It's just going to be such an event that if you feel like coming, you should come. And if you feel like wearing a pink dress, do that if you can. And if you can't, then don't. So the whole idea is that we're here together, and it's just music. It's about submerging in an experience that you maybe don't have to know what to expect. It's just a journey through sound, which hopefully opens space for you to, in your fantasy, open up a little door so you travel there, or maybe another door as well, or maybe you find some other creatures there.
And on that note, we will now play an excerpt or a sneak peek of what to expect from, or what not to expect from Kernel Magits. Kernel Magits will be performing during Live at Our Place on August 22nd with solo artist Līva Dumpe, also set to perform. Tickets are available via the Treehouse NDSM website. Now we move on to two more musical guests, Aurel Violas and Kasper Rietkerk, who will both be performing at Live at Our Place on September 25th. Aurel is the drummer in the musical trio IRT, which also includes Chilean guitarist and composer Inti Reboledo, the band's leader, and Remy Dielmans, who plays double bass. Saxophonist Kasper, meanwhile, will be going solo for this upcoming performance using woodwinds and guitar pedals for an experimental jazz ensemble. Welcome to both of you and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
I guess the first thing that stuck out to me when we were kind of initially speaking to you guys is that both of your works draw on jazz or even are entirely rooted in jazz. So my first question would be, what is it about this genre that captivated both of you?
I think that to me was the fact of having a hard time understanding what was happening and curiosity. So it's not a music that is initially made to please the ear. There's something a bit cryptic in appearance, let's say. Cryptic might be a bit too intense, as a word, but you need to dig a little bit in order to understand what's happening, and I think that's the main aspect that was appealing to me.
I think I just started listening to music when I was younger. I remember listening to Stevie Wonder and like some of those people, and then I remember he was featuring Herbie Hancock and like Dizzy Gillespie and some like old jazz players, and I sort of like was curious, as you were saying, sort of like curiosity in like what these people were, like who these people were and what they did, and then and then you just find this catalog on YouTube. I think YouTube was a big part, and then you just start listening to a lot of stuff, and it's sort of like it's very interesting to see what's happening in sort of like interaction, and you see musicians talking to each other on their instruments. I think you need some digging, but it's also just like very energetic and feels very honest. So that's, I think, something that appeals to me.
And you also, of course, both move between solo work and collaborative work as well. How do you kind of navigate maintaining or evolving your own musical identity while kind of moving between this format?
Your musical identity shows through you don't really have a choice the moment you start playing. Especially also because we train to improvise, and these are moments of spontaneity in which you're not really making an effort to maintain your own identity. You're in the moment, in the fire, and you make choices, you make micro decisions. So necessarily you say something about yourself. So it's not a conscious effort, I would say. That's also why I like it, because it puts me improvisation puts me in a situation where I have to be spontaneous yet hopefully authentic.
I think so. If it's really about like solo work and so like work within a band, I think as a jazz musician you always have to collaborate. That's the whole point of jazz music. It's sort of like building a community and being a part in different bands, playing a part in different bands. I think there's not many jazz players that only do like solo work.
No, it's actually seldom.
Oh yeah.
Especially for drummers.
Oh yeah. I don't know if they did that their whole life though. Now they end up performing that, but I think there always needs to be a part of interaction and sort of like you also play with your teachers and your mentors and things. But I think that's a big part of jazz music. But then a lot of the time you practice just by yourself and figuring stuff out. So you create ideas. Sometimes you end up with a nice idea or something that works on your instrument particularly, or some of your instruments. I think then you just start to listen, and it's just a different, for me at least, it feels like very different playing just by myself or like playing in a band situation, because I play woodwind or like saxophone, you play a lot of lead parts usually when you play with a band, and then you're responsible for a lot more when you do it just by yourself, which sometimes is fun and sometimes it's very stressful.
But I do think, I have a little bit of a background in music, but what I find always, and I don't know if you guys maybe agree, but I do think when you play or improvise with a band, like the energy always attributes to it, you know. And it could be with the same people, but sometimes you can have like different energy. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
Different?
no, it makes a lot of difference. Yeah, like that's the whole fun. Or like that's part of the fun in jazz music. I think it's like interacting with people, and also if you play with the same band, it will never be the same gig, even if you play exactly the same songs and the same set list, because it depends on the night, depends on how you feel, depends on how your drummer is feeling, how your guitarist is feeling.
The quality of the human relationships matters so much. You can find yourself in situations where you're totally inhibited because it doesn't work so much. It doesn't click so well. Hopefully the next day, if you're playing a lot, you're in a different band with people with whom everything flows on stage and off stage too. And it's the easiest thing to do.
And of course, Kasper, you will be going solo for this upcoming performance. What are the kind of challenges there then? Because you've mentioned a little bit about, it's a different atmosphere almost, but what are the challenges? But also, what do you enjoy most about going solo? And
there are a lot of challenges, I think, for me, at least, like how I want to do it, because I'll also be playing some pedals and some things, so I'm not trying to sound like a band by myself, but I'm trying to make it a little bit fuller than just only a saxophone melody, because I can only play one note at a time. So the pedals help me a little bit with that, but also it's sort of like trying to find a nice balance of not having too much of that. So it's just a different headspace to me, because you're just thinking about different things. Sometimes you're thinking about sustaining or like some bass line, and then you're also thinking about the melody, and so that's challenging, and it's fun for me to work out how I can sort of like still make a tune come across just by myself. It's more like the challenge I think I like about it. I think when I got asked to do this performance, I was just telling them that I just wanted to do like a 30-minute short set. I think I can keep 30 minutes kind of interesting.
And of course, you combine woodwinds, guitar pedals, and saxophone as well. What kind of drew you to using these different mediums?
I love the saxophone. I play alto a lot, but I've always played like different instruments, also like bits of guitar and piano. I'm sure you do as well. And no, okay. Some people just like, I don't know. I just always
You're committed to the drums.
No, I don't play. I look for chords on piano. That's the only thing.
Okay, yeah.
And I comp my students with a guitar, but I can't play anything really pleasant, like really musical with any other instrument than drums.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really dissimilar to that, but I like to play at least, or like I like figuring stuff out. Like the guitar and the piano are so different, so both of those instruments give you like really like different ideas of like how you can make chord sounds or like things sound. And then I've always liked playing flute and clarinet and all those things a little bit. If you just like recording yourself and just like making stuff up on your laptop, then you end up figuring stuff out by yourself. And and there's lots of people that did things like this before. It's not that I'm the first one doing this.
No, but I do think, even though you might not be the first one to invent the wheel, but if you look at cars as well, it's like so many different models, variations. You put your own twist and your own vision. I think that's what contributes the most.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like it's personal because it's also my own song. So I'm playing some songs of an album I released, just some of them that work well in this situation, I think, and then some others that don't work, I just leave.
Nice. I'm very curious.
Yeah. And indeed, of course, you released your debut album in 2024, The Island, and then you released The Happy Warrior in 2025.
Yeah.
What role did those albums play in kind of solidifying your musical positioning, let's say? How will we see those evolve in the upcoming performance?
That's a big question. I think for The Island, I just was really into writing a lot of music. So I always like to create I think that's for me sometimes more fun. I also really like practicing, but I really like making music and creating stuff. So in The Island, I lived in London for a really long time. I was just writing a lot of music for like a certain band, and then I started to involve a string quartet, and so that's quite a big sound. Just really liked writing for that group, so that resulted in that album. And then the second album was sort of like completely the opposite, that I just recorded with like mostly trio and sometimes quartet. So like less people and way more empty sort of like atmospheric sounds. And that's also more of the music that I'll be playing on this performance, because it's it's a bit better suited for that.
Nice.
I'm curious. And Aurel, of course, you'll be working with Inti and IRT on this performance. You'll be presenting a new acoustic composition by Inti that combines elements of jazz, rock, and mainstream music. Can you tell me a little bit about how you met Inti and how this kind of collaboration came about?
It's very simple. Inti and I are colleagues at a music school, and that's how it started. He just he solicited me for just playing a session, and I said, like, come over to Treehouse. I've got my studio, I've got an amp, I've got a drum kit. We improvised and played some of his tunes, and it clicked. It worked well. We like each other's playing, and he was looking into launching another project, and so he called me, and later Remy, and so we've been rehearsing, practicing, and we had one gig already. So it's a fresh project, but it's already like there's already some material, some concrete things going on.
And it's kind of an interesting mix of genres that you're bringing to the table. Can you talk me through what that kind of sounds like, how these elements kind of combine?
The jazz side is the most easily hearable, I would say. I mean, it's jazz. If you want to label it, technically it is jazz. As like many guitar players, you know, and actually also a lot of drummers, Inti and I, we come from the pop rock world initially, and then we hear jazz and we're like, what is it? We want to learn it. You meet a lot of these profiles. So in that sense, we're also similar. I don't know about Remy, because it's less often these circumstances for double bass players, I would say. So a lot of guitar players have this rock background, and Inti is one of them. So it's more a background than a quality that you will clearly hear in the music. But it's true. If you listen well, you will hear some tropes. You've got also, like, you had an aesthetics that came out in the 70s, which was called fusion or jazz rock. And Inti has been also influenced by this. Although I would say, like, this kind of sound has really evolved lately. You would not really call that fusion jazz, but Inti has been listening to this style a lot.
You've kind of all come from different backgrounds and influences. Was there anything that you really learned from each other as this process has gone on, and how has that kind of shaped the sound that the band has today?
Well, Inti and I became friends, so we're colleagues. We have the common experiences at the school, and then there's the playing together, so you end up knowing each other. Remy, I know him for a little less time, but once again, the combination of personalities just works fine. We have a good time playing and a good time hanging, just strengthening bonds and learning to listen to each other while playing and also while hanging. This is what it's an ongoing process.
You're both Treehouse residents, so we're very curious to hear about your experience here and how that's kind of helped you grow your practice and hone your craft. What has it been like kind of working in this space and within this community?
Yeah, I'm a Treehouse resident since September last year. So not for, like, maybe you're a resident longer. It's really nice being here, and it's amazing that they have it quite close to the city. You can just do whatever you want, it feels like. And there are a lot of musicians, so there's quite a big community of, like, jazz musicians and classical musicians and other artists. So it's nice to see each other and sometimes to, like, get a heads up of what people are working on. And it's quite inspiring. There's also, like, a thing that you have in conservatory. Sometimes it's annoying that your neighbor is practicing the same skill over and over again, but I think when you graduate, at some point you start missing that a little bit. If you just play on your bedroom all the time, then here you get that back, maybe times 3 or something. But then it's quite, I think the amount of it is quite nice, because there's like, I play saxophone as little saxophonist, so like around the studio that I'm practicing usually. So you talk about music and you hear other people playing stuff and practicing things. So that's quite inspiring and encouraging, I think. And a lot of people here are also very creative and making stuff. So
yeah, totally. The nuance I like, the difference I like with the conservatory, although it's true that we hear each other a lot, is that it's way more diverse. I mean, the genres that you're gonna hear from your neighbors are way more diverse. It's not like bebop scales or, like, what you have been told to work on for the next lesson. No, it's really people experimenting in very broad array of styles. And there are not only musicians, there are also visual artists, and a lot of interdisciplinary projects get initiated thanks to this proximity. And there's a lot also of socialization through the canteen, because we got a chef, a vegan chef, doing a bit of publicity, but I do think it really participates in the dynamics, in the social dynamics, and it favorizes meeting between people here. How it helped me? Well, having a place to practice as a drummer is a blessing. You need that.
Your neighbor would not be happy with you otherwise.
No, yeah. No. I would just stop music without the space. I would just have to stop. So I'm really happy I have this with tolerant neighbors also, because it makes a lot of noise. But we're all in good terms, and we're like careful not to disturb each other in communicating all the time. So it's going pretty good.
And I'm curious though, because you also said, of course, you come from a different style of music, then you went into jazz, so you have a different background. But when you're here and you hear all this kind of different music, the question is for both of you guys, by the way, does it also trigger you to explore new genres, new sound combinations? Does it make you like explore the musical verse more, or how do you experience that?
That's true. On the other hand, it's also true that you, or at least for me, it's not that I want to imitate everything I hear. Sometimes I just enjoy hearing something, and I think it sounds amazing, but it's not something that I want to be doing. I don't mean it in the wrong way, but
no, I get what you mean.
Like if I listen to classical music, I'm amazed to listen to classical, and I love going to classical concerts. And sometimes you maybe take some harmony or like some things from it, but it's not that I want to be a classical piano player. But then it does inspire you, and I think there's like lots of different instruments, like lots of other instruments, and also when you talk to like the visual artists, they all have like a different view on music. Like that's completely different from how niche we look at genres, or like how we think all. And then you talk to some people who have like a bit more overview, but are still into arts and things. And then you realize, it's not that big of a deal, like not that big of an issue.
Well, it is in your vision. That's what I like as well. Everybody has their own vision. Yeah. So in your point of view, of course, it's way bigger than maybe somebody else's. And I think that also makes it such an interesting place. To if you can discuss with people and see how they view it. I like always when I talk with people, how they view the world. It inspires me, because just like I said, something is maybe bigger for another person than it is for you.
That's completely
but it triggers a different mindset for me. So I always like that.
Pretty similar. Maybe an anecdote of how you're being seen or heard by artists that are not exactly precisely in your field. I remember someone noticing my gestures. I'm a musician, I make sound, but it's also visually interesting in this way. So I was touched also by this, because I myself also, if I look back, was also sensitive to the drummer's posture and gestures.
Okay.
It's something that I considered as part of the craft. And that someone notices this and doesn't talk to me about my sound, I found it pretty touching. But it also shows that they're really invested in what you do, and with their own set of tools to grasp what we do. So that's an example.
I'm curious as to what your experience is operating within Amsterdam's creative industry as a whole. Are there places that you like to frequent? Are there places you like to perform? What has your experience been? Because you're from France, if I'm correct. Yes. So what is that experience like for you operating within this city's creative community?
There's a nice, I almost want to say, folklore here in Amsterdam. It's free improvisation, which stemmed out of jazz, initially out of free jazz, that came up in the late 60s, I think, if I don't say it. Really grew here in Amsterdam, as well in Berlin and Chicago, I think. But Amsterdam is one of these places where it's almost, I could say, an institution. And I find it very authentic. It's an underground, it's a niche, it's an underground scene, but it's very present. So all these little venues, I really recommend that you check. Places like Zaal 100. There's also an association called Space is the Place. Here in Treehouse, there's a free improv session going on also, which was, I think, I'm not sure there's going to be more editions, but it was called Witch's Brew. Yeah, improv jam sessions all around in town. They happen at Zaal. They happen at the Rode Bioscoop. So yeah, all these little places where they play free improv is really nice.
I think it's not like maybe to add, as a music lover and like fan of music, and especially improvised music, it's also quite nice that there's lots of amazing people coming to visit Amsterdam and play around. So either that could be in Rode Bioscoop or like some of the smaller places, but also at Bimhuis they have amazing.
Yes, I forgot Bimhuis. Of course.
They have amazing people, and it's still. So I was in London for quite a bit, so I'm also less up to date, I think, than Aurel is about some of the venues. But there, at least, if you want to see like Americans or like just the amazing bands, you have to pay a lot of money. And I would say here it's quite affordable, and sort of like you can go there as a student or as a music club, and it's one of the best venues there is.
It's the best. Winton Marsalis said so.
Yeah, it's just like if you compare to a lot of venues that are in the States or in England or all over the place, like they all combine it with food, and you'll play for people that have beef or like pizza or whatever. Because they have to make more money. Like it's always like about money, and have to make more and sell really high tickets. And here you can still go to a place. People are only there to listen to the music. You're really close to the musicians. The sound is great. Like since I moved back, I realized how much of a blessing that is to just be able to visit that and see bands perform in a place that they want to perform, and everyone has sort of like attention to the music.
For you, Aurel, because of course, like I heard earlier, you're from France. How do you find Amsterdam's creative scene comparing to where you're from? Did it help you in your own musical journey, or what did it do for you?
If you compare, I've lived in Paris too. Once again, like the free improv and experimental avant-garde scene here is nothing compared to Paris. There's a lot of great jazz happening in Paris and a lot of other great styles also being played, but that's really the main difference for me. Interdisciplinarity also, like dancers, things happening between dancers and musicians, which is not something I really witnessed in Paris, although there are some great venues too, like the New Morning, Duc de Lombard, the Sunside, but this is more like the feel of jazz itself.
And on that note, for any of the listeners that want to attend the Live at Our Place in September, and this might be a very difficult question to ask, but why should they attend, and what can they expect from the experience? What do you hope they take away with them?
I always find those questions really hard, because it's like, maybe it sounds like you want a lot of people to attend, and you want your music to be heard. But on the other hand, if you make music for your listeners, it's a really hard place to make music from. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if people are, because people ask musicians, because it's a live performance thing. But if you compare it to visual art or something, I don't know. I think it's almost a funny question to ask someone who made like a drawing or a painting. And sometimes maybe there's like a really big idea of like, or like an exhibition, I want the people to feel like this or like feel like this. But I think also people express themselves. Yeah. And then they hope someone else will interpret it their own way. So I usually like not sort of like saying too much about what the music, I can say what it is to me, or like how I wrote the song, how I initially came about, but usually get the best responses from people that were in the audience when I played a song and I didn't talk too much about what the song was about. And then someone walks up to me and I was like, I had it recently that someone really close to him just passed away. And so like it was this painter or this artist, and it was just like a huge story that I never could sort of like think about to talk about. And I think if I would say like, this is a song, I don't know, if I would introduce that song in a different way, then I sort of like block some of the mind's thoughts of other people and like listeners. So this is not an answer to your question, because I want a lot of people to come.
It's an answer.
For me, I think I like making music that I like, and I try to do my best and make it the best thing I can within my limited possibilities.
Maybe I can add to this. Yes, what I could say is that what I would recommend is to keep in mind that no matter if you're sensitive to the aesthetics, in any case, the artists here are talking about themselves, about something that's universal, like interiority. I mean, you put yourself into the music, no matter how selfless you want to be, or no matter if you really compose something for the audience or for someone in particular. You are, I think, talking about yourself and trying to reach universality within yourself. You might be doing it in a way that is not easily understandable by everyone. But if you just keep in mind that we're in this kind of process, no matter how difficult it is to grasp, well, then anyone should be able to enjoy what's happening on stage.
Join Kasper and Aurel with Inti's IRT at the upcoming Live at Our Place on September 25th. Tickets are at our website, treehousendsm.com.
I hope to see you there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To give you a taste of what to expect from the upcoming Live at Our Place, Kasper will now perform a rendition of his song Ceiling. These are not the only events taking place at Treehouse. August is looking to be a very busy month for the platform. Our exhibition and workshop event, Queertropolis, is currently ongoing at our pavilion until August 8th. We also have a summer garden painting workshop series, which will be taking place for both adults and children throughout the month. More information about all of our events can be found via our Instagram page or on our website, treehousendsm.com. For now, that wraps up the second edition of the Treehouse Lounge. Thank you to all of our musical guests for giving us a peek into their world. We hope to see you at their respective events. One last thank you, of course, goes to Bram Radio, the 24/7 online streaming station. A catch-up of this episode will be available via their platform on demand and via the Treehouse YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us.
And please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Good one.